How do TV directors break into the business? Well, every director has a different story, but this is the story of my friend Rob Cohen. Now, Rob and I were both writers on a show called Just Shoot Me many years ago. And before that, Rob was a writer on The Simpsons. And in fact, the character of Milhouse was modeled on him. Here's Rob sitting inside of a bathtub while directing. Look at that face. Tell me that's not Milhouse. Now, many years ago, I was helping out on a pilot as a favor. Remember that word favor, because I wasn't getting paid for this. And I bumped into Rob on the set as well. He's helping out too. And I'm like, hey man, what are you up to? I haven't seen you forever. He goes, well, I'm not writing anymore. I want to get into directing. And I'm like, all right, well, how are you going to do that? I was like, is your agent going to help you out? He's like, no, the agent's not helping out at all, because they can sell him as a TV writer, but they can't sell him as a director. They're of no use at all. I'm like, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to break in? He goes, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Over the next several years, he wound up taking whatever job he could get as a director for free. A music video, a commercial, industrials, whatever it is, indie films. He'd do it for free, or sometimes he put his own money into it because he wanted to learn the trade. He wanted to just get comfortable behind the camera. He wanted to learn everything. Now, many years ago, my partner and I wound up running the show called Marin on IFC. That was a super low budget show. So an ordinary sitcom, you get like 5 days to shoot an episode. This was 2.5 days to shoot an episode. That's almost impossible. We didn't know how we were going to do it. Rob finds out about this. He's like, hey man, I'd love to direct an episode. I'd love to meet on this. And we're like, Rob, you haven't really done anything. You haven't done TV before. We need an experienced director because this is going to be impossible. He goes, please, just let me meet. He comes into the meeting super prepared. What he had done is he watched the pilot and he transcribed the whole thing. He turned the whole thing into a script. And then he blocked it out and he comes in with diagrams. He goes, look, this is how you shot the pilot. This is how I would have shot that scene. I would have used this camera, would have turned into her single. This camera would have been the wide, but it would have turned into this, blah, blah. He's got it all mapped out. And I'm like, yeah, so what? He goes, well, the way you shot this scene, I use my setup. I do it with one less camera setup. Each time you move the camera, that's a setup. That could easily take 20 minutes. Because he's doing it with one less camera setup, that saves 20 minutes. Now multiply that over how many scenes in a day. He goes, that's how you're going to get your show shot on schedule. And my partner and I, we look at Mark, we're like, damn, you know what you're talking about. We hired him. Not because we were doing him a favor, but because he was doing us a favor. Now Rob is a super successful director now. Every time he books a big gig, he winds up sending me like a thank you present because he thinks I made his career. And I'm like, Rob, I didn't make your career. You made your career. We didn't hire you because we wanted to do you a favor. We hired you because you did us a favor. Remember that. No one wants to do you a favor. They want favors done for them. That's how you get work. For more of my tips, sign up for my free newsletter. I call it the watch list. To get on it, go over here. That's how it's going to help you get into Hollywood too. Sign up.